Hello and welcome to this presentation on the Blood Reaper, which is one of those weird Clan Wolf mech that's fairly recent, not the most recent one, but in the recent-ish category. That's been used quite a bit, actually. They've been producing quite a few of those as a second-line unit for some reason, and I'm pretty sure most Inner Sphere commanders would kill to have that as a front-line unit generally. The reason I'm talking about it, one customer brought one in for a revision. We had to fix a few things on it. Nothing major, since the design is actually quite capable, in my opinion. As Clan Wolf, the real one, not the fake one or the other fake one, it gets confusing when you have the Wolves in Exile and the Wolf Dragoon and actual Clan Wolf and the Coyotes who are not Clan Wolf all around. Actual Clan Wolf, the one that was actually led by Vlad Ward, needed to rebuild their forces at the tail end of the Jihad. They had quite a few new designs that came in around that era, some very successful and some that look really awful, like the Tundra Wolf. Ease of production was a major issue at the time because they were kind of running low on factories and skilled personnel. They wanted a variety of second-line designs that were going to be competent, especially in the hands of the super elite Clan Wolf warriors. Let's say Vlad Ward had a bit of an ego issue. So Clan Ward was quite clear to his scientist when he asked them to design all those mechs. They had to make them good, or he was going to kill them in the cockpit of the mech they were designing. Not to say that we've got a few recruits out of that design program by Clan Ward, but we did. On the other hand, the end result of some of those designs were things like the Blood Reaper Mark I, which is a rather fantastic design, in my opinion, that fit all the specification that were actually put out by the Khan. It was rugged, it was actually rather tough, and used more or less standard parts for some of its design. It was able to move its arm almost 180 degrees, which is pretty useful. Usually you only have that on mechs with no lower arm actuators. Those do have those actuators and they're still able to do it. And it was a 70-ton design, so it wasn't too heavy, not too light. It was in a very nice niche there. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the fanciest, but it did the job really well. And that's what they wanted in the end. So how is the design? Well, you start with a 280 power plant giving you a speed of about 65 kilometers per hour. It's a Clan XL, which means that even if you lose a torso, you're still in fight. You're cooled down by 18 double heat sinks. That might sound like a lot, but once you look at the weapon loadout, it kind of makes sense. And you got 13.5 ton of standard compound armor on an endo steel chassis. Probably the smarter thing to do when you have access to an endo steel mill. You also have jump jets, so you're able to move 120 meters in the air, which is perfectly reasonable. So even though you're slower than, let's say, a Timberwolf, with those jump jets, you're almost as mobile in the end. For weapons, it actually is incredibly simple. You've got a pair of ERPPCs, that explains the 18 double heat sinks, and a pair of heavy medium lasers, which also explain the 18 double heat sinks. That's loaded in your arms, which, like I said, you can basically flip around almost at will. And you've got two 6-tube ATMs in the shoulders / side torsos there, each fed with 3 tons of ammo, so one of each type of advanced tactical missile. That might be a bit of overkill. That's just me. I would probably have gone with Streak SRM6 instead. You do have more flexibilities with those ATMs. I've seen some with improved heavy medium lasers, replacing those heavy medium lasers. I have seen some with improved ATMs rather than the regular ATMs. Really, in the end, it really depends on when it was built, where it was built, and who built it. If you look at it this way, it's basically a lighter version of the Tug, which was a standard battle mech for the longest time for the Star League. The Blood Reaper being a fairly recent design, you don't have a whole lot of different variants out there. There's a weird one that Alaric Wolf, Ilkhan Extraordinaire, has used in his Trial of Position. We're not going to talk about that one because it was really a one-off. The standard one being the Blood Reaper Mark II, which takes out the jump jets and replace it with a pair of medium pulse lasers. You lose on mobility, gain on firepower. Not a huge fan of it personally. I would have kept those jump jets but this one is actually used in actual trials of position, trials of grievance. It's a decent design for shooting each other and hoping only one person comes out. Your Mark III is, well, a departure in a way because it uses all sorts of advanced technologies. It gets a bit expensive and a bit weird. It actually uses Artemis 5 enhanced SRM-6. The Artemis 5 has the same effect as the Artemis 4, increasing the accuracy of the missiles, but it also has a lock-on feature, not as good as a streak launcher, but still decent enough. A little bit in between the two. I prefer streak launchers personally. Your heavy medium lasers are replaced with improved heavy medium lasers as a standard. Heavy medium lasers have the problem of not being accurate. Improved heavy medium lasers are more accurate, but have a tendency to blow up if they're impacted by hits. I'm not sure which one is the best. I hope at some point someone actually works the kinks out of those lasers. You take out one of the heat sinks, but you actually put a targeting computer in, which is very good with a pair of ERPPCs and improved heavy medium lasers. It kind of balances it out a little bit. In order to make sure that you keep cool, you actually have 3 coolant pods mounted on the machine. I've never been a huge fan of coolant pods as well, but they're useful, especially in shorter term engagements, which is what the clans really like to get into anyways. To be honest, I haven't seen a whole lot of those filter in from the outside. I've only had to deal with the Blood Reaper a few times, usually playing around the innards of them. And it's not like some of the late Jihad machines we get from like the Word of Blake and things like that from Alaric or from the Taurian Concordat that just filters in just because they've got stashes of them laying around. I've seen some refitted with ER medium lasers instead of the heavies. Not a bad idea. Same weight. You lose a little bit on the damage, but you gain on the range. I kind of like that. I've had someone walk in with a pair of plasma rifles because plasma rifles are fun, I guess. I mean, everybody's going to try different things when they're mercs and they get their hands on a clan machine. What I've actually started doing on the most recent one that came in, we reinforced the forearms and the shoulder assemblies so someone could actually use those pods there as battering rams. It's not the most efficient thing, but you're going to get into fist fights with other mechs every once in a while, so it's not a bad idea to actually be able to fist fight. This is one of those designs that could actually go somewhere in the future. I'm not sure what Clan Wolf actually wants to do with them, if they're ready to put the money down to keep the design going and keep the design up to date. But as far as a second line machine, I think it is near the top of the quality you can get. So I thank you very much for listening to me for so long. I hope you guys have a very nice rest of your day. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.